wrap up. Hey, good afternoon, traders. Today is June 12th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Hey, let's go take a look at some charts today. We'll look at how I made 2K today. All right, first chart we'll look at is SPY on the 10-minute. All right, so just 10-minute straight over to the right. All right, just consolidation into the close. It was actually consolidation from 11 o'clock all the way into 4 o'clock. So for 5 hours, we had a 10-minute uptrend that just didn't go anywhere. Okay, 10-minute uptrend that just went flat. On the 2-hour chart, let's take a look at the 2-hour. Still got our 2-hour uptrend still alive here. Lost it for a candle and then recovered it. So still got that 2-hour uptrend. On the daily chart, okay, on the daily chart, you can see price action made a lower high. And what's the low here is 599.27, 599.52. So lower high, higher low. Inside day on SPY, closing over the bullish trap again, over the rising 17. Okay, up here in the quadrant 4, up over the uptrend line, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Price action is bullish. We're up there in the top quadrant. That's number 4. So that makes us bullish up there. Making higher lows and higher highs. Okay, so that's an uptrend. Got a consolidation breakout, and they're running after those new all-time highs. We'll see where they get from that. All right, so there's price action for SPY. Looking good. All right, that's bullish. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ got in. The low here is 530.11. The low here is 530.84. Another inside day closing over the trap. That's bullish. Over the 17 EMA, that's the green dots. That's bullish. Over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Really close to taking out the all-time high. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, making higher lows and obviously making higher highs. Technology is on fire. There's QQQ on the daily chart. We're in an uptrend. Take a look at the QQQ game plan. Okay, we'll take a look at that on the 5. You can see, I don't know why this does this. They move this around. Okay, this is supposed to be 553.05. This is supposed to be 530.90. Right there. Okay, so you can see we never broke out of the red erases green or broke out of the green erases red. Well, that's going to happen when you got an inside day. All we had was a 10-minute uptrend that rallied into about 534 here. And then you can see it just consolidated over to the right for the rest of the day. Most of the price action was on top of VWAP up here, okay? Just over the pivot. Okay, so there's QQQ on the game plan. Again, the green erases red entry never triggered. The bearish red erases green entry never triggered. You did have a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right here. That triggered. You could have traded that all the way up to those highs up there at 534.63. Okay, so there's QQQ. Again, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Peek at it on the daily chart. Look at it over here on the scratch. Okay, I got to zoom in. Lower high, lower low. Closing over a bullish trap again. All right, over the rising 17. That's bullish. Over the uptrend line. That's bullish. Up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, also bullish. Making higher highs and higher lows. Getting a breakout from the consolidation hold right through here. Diamond Dow, bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, up there in quadrant 4, IWM. Lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap. That's kind of bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. over this all-time high anchored VWAP, that's also bullish. Over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Just kind of neutral right here, okay? We went down and we gave it up, all right? If we give it up and more, all right, that'll take us up here in the upper third. That'll make it bullish then. Right now, very much bullish characteristics, moving up, holding the higher ground here, and having a breakout, all right? So hopefully it's not a false breakout where they roll over. Everything's looking good so far, up over the uptrend line, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Just neutral right now, right through here. If they can climb up into this upper third, hold that area, they'll be bullish. Right now, just neutral. Let's take a look at FNGB. Price action for FNGB is it's a lower high and a lower low, closing over the bullish trap again. Look at all these closes up over the bullish trap. Even the red days are closing over the bullish trap. Closing up over the 17 EMA. Closing up in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Moving up, hold the higher ground, now breaking out into quadrant 4, that's bullish. Over the uptrend line, that's also bullish. Price action, FNGB on the daily chart, that's bullish. Let's take a look at T2122. All right, you can see we got tossed out of the buy zone, all right, and the buyer's chop zone. We wound up landing this morning inside the seller's chop zone. We bought our way out of it, okay? You can see we muscled our way out, all right, to make a higher low, but a lower high. So you got a high there. Got a lower high, made the higher low, made a series of lower highs through here, but higher lows, and then finally we made a higher high up there, okay? So we got a high, made an equal high. So we wound up closing right where we left off at the beginning of the day. You can see the pink line. You can see that's where we started, or that's where we ended, right up there, same spot. Okay, so there's T2122, spending most of the day in the buyer's chop zone. T2123. All right, you can see a couple of morning sellers in the morning and the rest of the afternoon. Nothing but buying going on. Did they make a new all-time high today? Yes, they did. Another new all-time, not a new all-time high, but a new rally high again today with a breakout at the end of the day. T2123 in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. Over the rising 200 SMA, that's bullish. Consolidating over prior consolidation, also bullish. Moving up, holding the higher ground and breaking out, that's bullish. Making higher lows and higher highs, again, bullish on T2123 15-minute chart. On the 3-bar chart, okay, price moves up, holds the higher ground, then breaks out again. Okay, up over the 200 SMA, that's bullish. You can see price action up here between the two prior all-time highs. Consolidation over prior consolidation, that's bullish. Well, that thing really rallied. Okay, that's T2123. It's making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend and it's bullish, T2123. On the daily chart, okay, we're still in a downtrend, but let's just face it. The daily candles are not moving down. There's no red ones here. See that? All right. We'll negate the daily downtrend as soon as we take out this first high right here. Okay. Take that out. We'll have to climb on top of the 200 SMA and then climb up through this and then make it on top of that. That will negate the daily downtrend. That's T2123 on the daily chart. Okay. 3-bar chart is bullish. You can see 3 more green candle bars again today. FNGB, we went through this a little bit earlier. A little bit of selling in the morning and the rest of the day mostly buying. And then they started having a party here at the end of the last hour. Okay, up over this 200 SMA, that's bullish. Consolidating over prior consolidation. Again, that's bullish. See that? On top of, say that, and then on top of, let's do this. Top of some of that other consolidation, that's bullish right through there. Over the 200, bullish. Okay, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's the pink line. That's bullish. Over the uptrend line, also bullish. FNGB is bullish right here. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors. We'll start off with XLE. Energy sector got a higher low and a higher high. All right, that's bullish, closing over the trap. That's bullish over the 17, bullish. Over downtrend line 1, that's bullish. Stuck underneath downtrend line 2, that's neutral. Stuck underneath all-time high anchored VWAP, still neutral. Did they make a higher high finally? I got to think they did. High there is 86.44. High here is 86.61. So finally got that higher high. So XLE, higher low, finally got a higher high. Nice work on the XLE. All right, make it still in an uptrend, just neutral. All right, we're not over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We still haven't cleared downtrend line 2. All right, so there's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. USO got a higher low and a higher high, closing over a trap, over a rising 17, over this 3-year high anchored VWAP, over the downtrend line. All of that is bullish, but we're still here in neutral territory, okay? Where we just crossed over the midfield. All right, once we get in the upper third or into the score zone, all right, down into the end zone down here, okay, we'll have what do they call it? The inside the 20, the danger zone or something like that. Anyways, up here in the upper third, that'll be bullish. Right now, just neutral in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. There's USO, looking good. UNG. UNG is a higher high and a higher low, but closing under a bearish trap again. Closing under a lot of closings underneath the bearish trap. Closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Actually, the 12-month high anchored VWAP. Under the downtrend line, under the 17. And this 12-month is a really low bar, okay? Because you look at the all-time high anchored VWAP, it's way back here. All right, so it's a really low bar, and they're still closing underneath the low bar. That's great if you're doing the limbo, but right now, not so much. Down here in the lower third, so that's bearish down here in the closing in the lower third. That's bearish. Still in a downtrend, yet to make a higher high. That's UNG. Take a look at SMH. SMH getting it done up here in quadrant 4 is bullish. Closing over the trap, bullish over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. All that's bullish up there in quadrant 4, bullish. Looking good, making higher lows, higher highs. Little consolidation, then got a breakout. Got that lightning bolt going on. Price action for SMH, looking good. All right, that's bullish and in an uptrend. XOK, same thing. Wonder if they made a new all-time high today. All right, the high for today is, oh my gosh, they missed it by a penny. 243.13. Okay, so we missed it by a penny. All right, and you can see price action is obviously bullish. When you miss the all-time high by 1 penny, you can see it closing over the trap, over the 17, over the uptrend line, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. This thing's looking fantastic. Technology is on fire. This is looking good. All right, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, so that's XLK. Let's take a look at XLF. XLF, higher lows, higher highs. That's an uptrend over the all-time high anchored VWAP. It's the pink line. That's bullish. Again, closing inside of a bullish trap. That's bullish. Over the rising 17. That's bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Moving up, holding that higher ground, that's bullish. And in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. XLF is bullish. IYT. IYT is a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bullish trap, but over the 17. Closing over the uptrend line, I'm going to give it to them. They're just kind of neutral through here, but underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, so IYT just still having some struggles here on the transports. Everything else is looking good. Let me just say the dollar's weak. All right, so if people are buying our goods and services, I heard somebody got a contract. Oh yeah, Oklo got a contract, I think, from I think the military for some energy needs or management. So there's IYT, just neutral, not in the upper third, not in the lower third, definitely making higher lows and higher highs. So it's still, no, they're still in a downtrend because they made a lower low right here. They made a lower low, but they did take out that high, so that makes it an uptrend. So yeah, so they're in an uptrend, still in an uptrend on IYT. All right, uptrend for IYT. Moving up, holding the higher ground. That's bullish. Stuck underneath the all-time high. VWAP, that's neutral. All right, so somebody said something. I think it was Mel. Mel says, "Hey John, gonna run. Can you please record the end of day wrap up and cover T21, 22, 23? Post the recording." Yes, in the chat. We'll have it up there in the alerts. And I've been having a hard time finding end of day recordings, even YouTube and Facebook. Huh. If you're having a hard time finding my end of day recordings, usually I'll post it right here. Okay, so this is, oh yeah, last night's didn't get posted. I got this one posted, and that's a green erases. How I made 2K. That's posted. All right, I'll get that up there. I'll make sure it's posted. Okay, how I made 2K. That was yesterday. All right, I guess this morning's video didn't come in yet, or I didn't get that posted. I'll make sure I get that posted too. All right, that's it for me for today. I'll take questions in the room. If not, I'm going to start my evening. Too little, too late, but something for tomorrow. Who knows what we'll have? Yeah, the red zone. That's right. Thanks, Ron. Out of the last puts. Way to go, Mel. It could go down at end of day, yes, and it could go up. It was, Oklo got that new contract and MP. Where do you get low option commissions, Mike? I think Tasty Trade has low option commissions. You have to negotiate. They're negotiable, by the way. I think 50 cents is per side is usually about the average. If you can get better than 50 cents, I think you're doing well. I do have one that does not charge anything. It actually pays you to trade options. And I will drop that in here as soon as possible. Let me see if I can find it. I don't have it right at my fingertips. But as soon as I find that one, I will drop it in there. Interactive Brokers is pretty reasonable sometimes. I'll see if I can find that one for you. Other than that, I would look into Interactive Brokers, and a lot of guys use Thinkorswim. Yes, seems SPY got stuck in a range. A lot of guys use Thinkorswim and find a decent broker. Again, shop around. There's hundreds of brokers out there. Just kind of average what you think you'd be trading and go to your broker, and I think you can negotiate that. All right, Mike, I'll see what I can find for that one that pays you to trade on their platform or whatever. All right. Until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning. Let's do it again. Oh yeah, how I made money today. Okay, let's go take a look at that. All right, let's slide this over. And let's pull up real P&L. Day P&L. Let's try it with SPY. All right, so I'm going to go to a 5-minute chart so you can see. And I'm going to pick up this one first, okay? So you can see on this one, I just bought the lows and sold the highs. That's it on this one. And that rally into the close right there. Again, it was a 10-minute uptrend that just went sideways. All right, so when the candles dipped, all right, I bought the lows and then sold the highs of the candles. 600 puts right here. Okay, so I bought into this rally up here, the puts, and sold them, and you can see I sold them off into this drop right here. Okay, bottom, sold them off into this drop. Bought puts up here at the top, and then sold them into the drop. Okay, calls, 607 calls, made $119 on those. Again, it was almost just picking off the bottoms down here, all right, and selling the top of those humps. Okay, so the peaks, I just bought the valleys and sold the peaks right there. You can see what I did. Bought the valleys and sold the peaks. Bought some out of the gate down here and sold into the rally of going up. Same thing on the next one. Okay, bought the double bottom down here and then sold into the rally. Bought the double bottom, sold into the rally, and here's some puts, and I bought some puts to come back down, and they did not work out, and I wound up losing $95 on the puts to close those out. And that's it for me for today. Okay, see you guys on tomorrow. All right, don't forget we got Thursday off for Juneteenth. All right, it's only a 4-day week next week. It's going to be exciting. All right, and market's on fire. Market's looking good. I'll see you guys tomorrow, all at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll do it again. Maybe we get some bigger moves than just a $2 move. Let's see, we went from $5.99 up to $6.03. All right, and then sideways for 5 hours. That's it. That's all we had. All right, sideways for 5 hours there. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock. All right, everybody have a great evening.